This was a fantasy world, and it was full of powerful people who could cut mountains with a flick of their hand. These men and women were known as cultivators, and were highly respected in this land. Their goal was to become immortal, after cultivating the Tao. The strong were worshipped and could get everything they desired. This is the story of a boy named Li Fan, who became a legend in this world. One day, a boy named Li Fan, from the 21st century, traveled to this strange world, by accident. Instead of being sad, he was happy to enter the immortal world. He had read countless novels and knew that this was the start of his protagonist's journey to the top. The first thing he did was to test his spiritual roots. He thought, as he was the protagonist, he must have the golden roots, which were the rarest. But reality came crashing down, as not only did he have a crippled spiritual root, but also the worst talent in cultivation. His body was a total waste. He couldn't bear this shock and cried continuously. For 3 days and 3 nights. People started teasing him, bullying him, and looking down on him. He got even more depressed from this. But one day, something magical occurred. He heard a voice. "Congratulations. You have triggered the God-level cultivation system. After binding with it, you could follow the system tasks for training. And after completing 666 tasks, you could become an unparalleled powerhouse in the world." Li Fan became happy hearing that. He had finally activated his cheat. From now on, he would become invincible. Once again hope rose in his heart. As he was looking towards a bright future, the system's voice was heard after the binding was successful now. He was proud and he thought of slapping the faces of all those who ridiculed him earlier. But once again fate was cruel with him. The first task he received was to deliver sows to the neighbor. And Wong, even the gift package he received from the system, didn't have any fighting or cultivation techniques. Instead, it was a skill for farming. He became full of rage and cursed the system. Why was his luck so bad? Every other main character got a system with overpowered skills. But he got one for farming, and even more, he had to complete 666 tasks of farming. As he had no other option, he had to complete the system's tasks to survive. Thus days passed. And 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. In these past 3 years, he chopped firewood, fed grains to the chicken. He was forced to practice calligraphy and painting. And he even had to defend the melon field of the neighbor uncle's house. He was too exhausted in these 3 years. At this moment, as he was feeding the chickens, a man came and asked him, "The festival is coming soon. Can you write a couplet for me?" As Li Fan had a helping nature, he hurriedly went with a middle-aged man. After Li Fan disappeared, the 2 chickens transformed into mighty phoenixes. "Guys, the master has left. Come out for dinner." And from the calm pond emerged a terrifying sea dragon. The dragon then said, "To be honest, our master is getting more and more terrifying. He washed his feet in the pond and I almost grew a top-grade backbone. And a fish grew to this size today. A tree near the pond." Then said, "Could it be that the master's power has grown so fast because of abstinence? After all, in the past few years, I have never seen him get close to any girl." The dragon then said, "But the master is so busy every day. How can he meet girls?" At the same time, outside a village in the mountains, a group of people stood there. Leading them was a woman named Mu Qian. She was also known as the Saintess. One of the disciples stopped her and said in a shaking voice, "This place is a forbidden area. Even our ancestors were lost in it. Do you really want to risk yourself?" The woman gritted her teeth and said, "No way. This is a question of survival for my sect. As Saintess, I am duty-bound." She had to do it. She then took out the treasure of her sect and alerted everyone to use their qi to protect themselves. She continued, "After I break through the barrier with the formation disc, follow me in immediately. Follow me in." She then activated the formation disc, which was the treasure of their sect. The formation disc activated and a huge crack appeared in the barrier. From within the crack strong qi erupted and attacked everyone. The formation disc broke in pieces, and the woman Mu Qian, who was nearest to the activation, suffered heavy injuries. Mu Qian cried because she couldn't even pass the first obstacle. This way she would never be able to find the divine water beads. Slowly her consciousness sank and she fell down. But before she could touch the ground, she was caught in a man's embrace. The man became surprised, seeing someone fall out of nowhere. This man was Li Fan. He then asked what happened to her, but soon realized that she was unconscious. He realized that because of so much smog and lack of oxygen, the girl might have fainted. He then casually fanned his hands. But what happened next was that all the smog near that area got cleared. The woman had regained her consciousness, and seeing all this was shocked, as this was no ordinary smog, but a formation spell, and no one could dissipate it like that. Just how high was this man's cultivation? The woman hurriedly bowed along with all of her juniors. She then introduced herself as Mu Qian, from Lihua sect. She then explained him about her situation, as how she along with her juniors were stuck in a formation, and the only way was to break it. She even apologized the man for disturbing him. She referred to him as a senior. Then she thanked him for helping her. Li Fan was embarrassed and said he was not a senior, but just an ordinary person. He then remembers something and says, "This Lihua sect sounded familiar. By the way, how could I help you?" The woman then responded, "Senior, this junior came here to find a dark green bead." The woman was thinking, even though she had met an expert, it was much better to speak less about this matter as it contained the secrets of the sect. Li Fan suddenly remembered and asked. He had seen that green bead many times. Did it belong to her? The woman was surprised and hurriedly bowed once again, and requested him to take her to that place. The man then said it was no problem to take them to the place, but as there were so many people and horses, they had to make sure not to trample the corn that he planted. The woman replied in a desperate voice, "Then senior, please take me alone. As long you are willing to help, I am willing to pay any price." The man felt awkward, seeing her suddenly close, the distance between them. He then agreed. The disciple came and whispered something in her ear. "Saint, as this place is dangerous, do you really want to go alone?" The scientist replied calmly, "Needless to say, for the sake of the sect, I will go no matter how difficult it is." Li Fan, seeing the disciple dressing her up, thought, this woman might be some rich young lady, from a prestigious family. Then Li Fan looked towards the village, and there erupted a huge fire in between. This was the Samadhi's true fire. The woman then thought, could her armor protect her from this fire? The man then said, "Come with me." He entered the fire and continued walking. Seeing this, the disciples were shocked. Even the woman knew Qian was shocked, because wherever the man put his step, the flames disappeared from that place. It was like they were dodging. The man Li Fan then turned around and asked her why she was in a daze. Should she 999 follow him? The girl then also stepped into the fire, and it didn't harm her. The anxious disciples gritted their teeth and prayed for the saintess to win the senior's favor, and fins the water divine beads, as that was the only lifeline for their sect. Li Fan then told her that those water beads she was referring to were spotted by him while he was chopping firewood in this grove. On the other side, the woman's surprise turned to shock, because the thing this man was referring to as grove was the legendary everlasting tree. And did he say he was cutting firewood from this precious tree? The woman almost fainted after hearing all that. The man caught her and asked, "What happened?" She replied that she felt a little dizzy. Li Fan then told her to rest under this tree. He began thinking this girl's body was way too delicate. She got dizzy just after walking a few steps. The girl realized something. This place felt like a wonderland. It was no better than heaven, described by the ancestors. Just by resting here, she could feel all the surrounding spiritual power gush into her. Li Fan then came and asked if she would like to drink water. The woman thanked him and took the gourd. As soon as she looked inside it, she was astonished because she felt that this water had some mystery to it. After drinking a sip of it, She realized that she had broken through from the second level to the third level of cultivation, from third to the fourth level, and from fourth to the fifth level. She had directly jumped 3 levels in cultivation, which otherwise would have taken her at least 4 years to reach. She was so dumbfounded that she just stared at the gourd bottle. Li Fan didn't know what was happening as he couldn't sense any qi, so just seeing her look at the gourd made him realize that she must be feeling more thirsty. He then tells her not to worry, as there was plenty of water for her to drink. The woman, hearing all that, thought, the senior must be testing me, so I shouldn't be greedy. She then hurriedly thanked the man, and returned the gourd bottle. The man then looked somewhere and said he remembered seeing a dark green bead nearby, so she could search for it. The woman thought after her cultivation had improved, her spiritual sense and perception had greatly increased. She could already sense the breath of the divine water bead. She then suddenly pointed towards a direction as they reached there. The man smiled and said, so it turned out to be here. The bead floated towards the man in a friendly manner. Seeing this, the woman thought, the divine water beads have spirits, and they would always be attracted towards the strong. Li Fan then handed over the bead to the woman. The woman was surprised seeing the senior directly handing it to him. She had thought he would demand something in return, but he was too generous. She then bowed and expressed her gratitude. Seeing the women still bowing like that made the man embarrassed, and he then told her to relax and change her clothes before leaving. The woman was full of gratitude for him and bade him farewell. She hoped to meet him in the future someday. As she walked out from the village, one of the disciples stepped out and said with a flustered voice, Saintess, it is bad, the sect sent an urgent call. The flame sect is here to destroy our sect, we should hurry. The woman was shocked hearing this. They quickly left. On the other side, inside the Lihua sect, a middle-aged man with a mustache came along with his entourage. He then spoke, in an arrogant tone. Sect leader, from today onwards your Lihua sect won't exist. You are the only one, in the nascent soul realm in your whole sect. Whereas we have 3 of them, do you still think you could fight against my raging fire sect? It is better you surrender. The sect leader spoke in a determined voice. As long as I am breathing, you guys should never even think of destroying my Lihua sect. The other middle-aged man then smirked and charged his energy. He coldly said, if that is what you think, then I would have to stop your breath first. At this moment, a loud voice was heard, everyone stop. The woman Mu Qian hurriedly came and said, report to the sect master. The most precious treasure of the Lihua sect, the divine water bead, has been recovered. The sect leader got excited hearing that and said, now that we have the divine water bead, we could win this fight, as the divine water beads had the power to increase the strength of the cultivators several times. The disciples of Lihua sect cheered. The man with a mustache trembled seeing this and shouted, how was it possible? This bead was lost many years ago in the Forbidden Land. How could she possibly get in and retrieve it? Muqian then smirked and said, it was a senior whom she met in the Forbidden Land, and he was the one who gave this to her. The man then laughed and said, wow, even Lihua sect is good at lying. You just found some random fake bead in order to receive the people of your sect. But in the next moment, the man was shocked. The woman then replied, Elder Gong, the beads might be faked, but could the cultivation also be faked? While saying so, she revealed her 9th level cultivation. The man was horrified and shouted, she was only at the 2nd level, how could she get to the 9th level? The woman then coldly said, it was just that the senior in the Forbidden Land gave her some pointers. She then thought, under the tree, while resting, her cultivation had improved to the 5th level, and while coming here, she used the divine water bead to increase it even further to the 9th level. Even though he saw the truth, it was hard for him to accept it. As he was slowly retreating, he fell down. His disciples asked if he was all right. The man was so embarrassed that he told them to shut up. The man then said, don't think that I am afraid of you. Lihua sect, now that you have a bead, I'll come again, just live a little longer. After finishing his third-rate cliché speech, he along with his disciples retreated. The sect leader, seeing their retreating figure, said, I never expected to get the help of some mysterious expert. Whoever he is, thank you for saving me, sect. The sect leader then hurriedly went to call the old ancestor, who was meditating on the mountain, as now they were going to go meet that mysterious senior. After a while, the sect leader's old ancestor and Mu Qian had finally reached the entrance of the village. Where Mu Qian had met the senior, the old man then asked if this was the right place. The woman replied that she was not sure if he lived here, but she definitely met him here only after entering the village. The sect leader was astonished to see a village and people living in it. He then said the forbidden land was very near to this place. Then how could people live in here? They soon spot an old couple. The old ancestor spotted the Hoan, the old couple's shoulder, and asked them to stop. He then asked the old woman, did anyone use her hoe recently? The old ancestor asked it because the hoe was emitting terrifying amount of qi and it was by no way ordinary. Only the person who last used it must have left some of it on it. The old woman then said, only I have used it. Who else would use it at this moment? The old man intervened, dear, how could you forget? Didn't little Li Fan help you? We'd only then did the woman realize. She had forgotten, because of her old age, it was indeed little Li who helped her this morning. The old ancestor then politely asked the location of Li Fan's home. The woman pointed to the stone house and said, just behind that vegetable field is his home. As they walked there, they were shocked seeing the vegetable field, because they weren't vegetables, instead elixirs. The quality of these ingredients were legendary. There were 5 categories: low, average, high, excellent, and legendary even. In their sect, they used average quality ingredients. High quality ingredients were very expensive, and only top sects used it. Excellent was very rare, and no one had ever seen legendary quality ingredients. They couldn't contain their excitement, and started chewing the grasses as it contained too much spirit energy. There wasn't even a need to purify it to create an elixir, as this was the purest form. After eating, then sprinted towards the stone house to greet this mysterious senior. The old couple looked at them in surprise and wondered if these were 3 beggars. They looked very happy while eating the grass. It was really a pity that the old woman said that this girl was very beautiful. It would be great if younger Li married her. On the other side, Li Fan, because wood was short today and it would not last long. At this time, someone shouted, Senior Li Fan. He turned around and was surprised to see the girl. Then he asked, who were the other 2 people in the form of a girl? Because the girl was tired, she was not able to say anything, but before that, both the men said, in a surprised voice, what kind of wonderland it was, of peaches, trees, and chickens. There were all the chickens in the void area became angry at being called and looked towards him. The aura was so brilliant that the man felt unimaginable pain in his head and he fell down. When Li Fan saw this, he quickly came over and asked him if he was all right. The old man could not answer, because he was by himself. In another shock, she thought how powerful this boy was. He touched me lightly. All the aura of cock disappeared. The girl came running and said in a happy voice, Senior, these 2 are the elders of my sect. They want to meet you. They were there. That's why I came here. Suddenly the boy was surprised to hear this. At the same time, a task window appeared in front of him and a task was generated. Keep the guests for a meal. Li Fan smiled and then asked them all to come in and have a meal. The 3 were he was happy to hear that. They were well, and Li Fan quickly came in and arranged everything in his room and began to prepare fresh food for them. But the ordinary food he prepared seemed like heaven-level medicine in the eyes of the 3 of them. The 2 old men whispered among themselves that the senior intended to enlighten them both and that they should not disappoint the good intentions of the senior. They quickly ate and finished the meal. But something magical happened to all 3 of them. The old man never thought that he would break his limit. Cultivation. And even his talent had improved a lot. Li Fan came and picked up the old man. He wondered why this old man was so excited. After the meal, could it be that he came from a poor family? Li Fan looked at him pityingly and asked, So why don't you drink some tea and calm down? The old man thanked him and drank the tea. But this tea was even more incredible. It not only not only did his cultivation talents soar, but also his previous internal injuries disappeared, which the old man could not take. He bowed directly to Li Fan anymore, saying that the great kindness and virtue of the superiors is that Kashri took it. We'll never forget. The three knelt down and shouted in unison, the great kindness of the senior, these juniors will never forget it. The fans were amazed by this, and thought how poor are these people, who get happy with a bowl of porridge over a cup of tea. At this moment, he got a notification from the system that it was time for drawing. He immediately asked the kneeling trio to get up, because it was embarrassing for him. Then tells them that he has other things to do and will not be able to see them off. The girl asks in a happy tone if she can meet him again in the future. Seeing that the girl was so excited, that Li Fan agreed to her request. But she agreed. After a while, the three of them came out of the house and were heading towards their sect. The elders thanked Qian for his quick-witted question, as they would be able to visit this heaven again. But this time, a terrifying energy appeared in front. Granted, it was a man with a mustache. He was burning with fire. He said in an arrogant tone, towards the two old men, "You two made it easy for me to find." That man in the sky laughed and said, "Yukashui, it doesn't matter where do you run today. You either submit to my raging fire sect or die." The old man replied angrily, "Did you really think it was easy to bully my Lihua sect? Our cultivation earlier today is different in comparison." The middle-aged man was surprised and said that this is the same breath of perfection. How could this man master it? The man in the sky laughed and began his attack with burning fire. Two horrible-looking skeletons emerged. These skeletons sent chains towards the three on the ground. The three of them became alert. The middle-aged man was shocked to see it and shouted, "Gong Sunchi, how dare you practice this evil cultivation method?" The old man made a golden shield to save them, but it all went in vain. The shield broke into pieces and blood came out of both of their mouths and they fell down. The woman screamed loudly and got scared seeing this. The old man the skeleton said, in a weak voice, "I'm afraid it's the highest grade magical weapon of the evil faction. Even if we combine all our powers, it won't be able to move." The girl was shocked to hear this and couldn't believe that it was from the Righteous faction. One member was using such unconventional techniques. Sun Chi laughed, saying that the more his skeleton absorbed power during battle, the stronger he became now. If he were to absorb all the people here, including this isolated village, he would be entering the 0 stage of cultivation. The woman tearfully begged him not to do so, because the people living in the village were innocent. Li Fan, on the other hand, he was worried seeing the weather suddenly became strange. The winds were howling and probably it was going to rain. He sighed and muttered, "Oh God, it's the weather, just don't harm my crops." This sentence of his was unaware of the bad weather. Walked towards the source of skeletons were formed. The sound echoed. A thunderbolt occurred and the skeletons were crushed into pieces. By it as golden light colored the sky gong. Sun Chi was shocked to see this. He couldn't understand that what happened, but that was just the beginning, as it wasn't long before the golden light struck straight at him and knocked him down from the sky. He was seriously injured, and as soon as he fell on the ground, he started coughing blood. He realized that he was going to die here. He immediately took out a light green medallion and put a drop of blood in it. He chanted weakly, "Burn my blood and save me." Suddenly his body turned into fog. As he disappeared into thin air, the woman, seeing all this, realized that it was Senior Li who had saved them. The old man too, looking in awe. As he heard Senior Li's majestic voice, he also said that this place will always be invincible, as long as Senior Li is here. But before he could finish his sentence, he coughed up blood. Because he was seriously injured, the woman asked him to calm down, because his injury was serious, on behalf of the old man, and said, "I don't think so. I don't know why there is a mark of chains on my body. It cannot be removed." The woman immediately said, "Should we ask Senior Li for help?" After a while, the three of them walked towards the village. Once again, the old man felt helpless and said, "It wasn't like that long before we left, and now once again, we had to go and ask for help from Senior Li. I hope the senior will not bother us." The atmosphere of the village was lively as many children were playing and adults were going to the fields. Old people, the sun was sunbathing and women were cooking food for their husbands. A small child was running away from the girl, who insisted on showing him the painting too, but the boy said that it was his and his painting would be finished tomorrow. The old man suddenly felt something and looked towards the children who were fighting. He stopped and asked them politely, Where they got this painting, the boy said, that Brother Li had given it to him. He became excited and opened the scroll to show him the painting. He proudly said that Brother Li made it. The best painting. The old man saw this painting fell. But it was not because of pain, but because of joy. He moaned like a girl and said that in front of this sacred picture, the sun had such a powerful way that all the evils turned away. It seemed as if all his wounds were healed. The middle-aged man asked if it could be that Senior Li calculated that he would be hurt by evil. So he deliberately asked the child to bring the painting to us asked for. The old man said that nothing could happen to a character like Senior Li. By avoiding his sight, Gongsun she was able to escape safely. Perhaps it was because Senior Li had deliberately let him go. The woman asked in a worried tone, but what was Senior Li's purpose in going towards the old man and said that he was afraid he did not do it. It is not qualified to know yet, the old man continued, but Senior Li gave so many blessings that he must repay her with all his heart. The woman blushed and said that she understood that he was thinking of something else, because he said, whether Senior Li needed it, she was willing to give him everything. On the other side, there was a fan of Li painting on a mountain top, she said in a disappointed tone. This system was too strict with its searches, she had to sit here every day and draw. Unknown to Li's fan, there was a cat and a mouse chasing down the mountain, a tiger cub running at high speed and 2 bird animals chasing him. Shouted one of them, "Be sure to catch him, the white tiger's blood can help us turn into humans." The tiger cub shouted angrily, "Stop chasing me, if you eat me, my father won't let you go." Because the tiger cub was running, she saw a golden energy from above. She saw a person with a painting brush. She was shocked and wondered how the Tao well could have such a strong flow. Now was not the time to think that maybe I should go and ask her for help. She jumped straight from the ground towards the mountain, where Li Fan was. Li Fan on the other side was in a dilemma about what to draw next. She had just finished drawing the mountain waterfall, thought that something was missing. All this time, he saw some bird animals flying towards him. Seeing this, he suddenly realized what he was missing. He quickly picked up the brush and started drawing bird animals in it. What happened next was even more surprising. The birds behind him all got inside the painting. Li Fan was happy to see his painting completed. Then he turned back, but was surprised finding that the birds had disappeared. He thought that perhaps they had flown away. The white tiger was frightened after seeing this and thought that this was impossible. Those 3 divine beasts that had crossed the realm of the void was actually drawn into the painting. Will she be the next? Li Fan turned and said, "It seems there is something else here." The tigers got into a fighting position after seeing this and thought, "I have no choice left. I have to use that trick, which no human could ever resist." He opened a blue invisible portal in front of him and walked across it. But what came out on the other side was not a scary white tiger, but a cute little cat Li Fan was looking at, because it was just a small cat. She was surprised to see such a beautiful cat in the forest. The cat felt proud of her appearance. But the next moment, she was shocked to see that the man in front of her was extending his hand towards her. Li Fan. Then she hugged the cat tightly and started playing with its fur. The cat was screaming in fear. Li Fan then touched a sensitive spot on the cat, happily expressing that this very moment was on Li Fan's mind. A notification rang and a new task was generated: adopt the white cat as a pet. This made him even happier since he had already decided to take it home. Sometime, the cat was inside Li Fan's house and was shocked to see the normal-looking chickens and trees, because on the surface, they might seem like normal things, but in reality, they were very scary and powerful. A chicken suddenly realized her sight and he looked at her. The cat immediately got scared and stepped back, but due to the sudden jump, she lost her balance and fell down. But before she could touch the ground, Li Fan cut her off. Then he asked in a worried tone, "How do you feel? Are you hungry?" She hugged the cat again. The cat and took her away. As the cat was leaving, she smiled towards the animals. The cat was happy, because she had discovered the secret of how these ordinary trees and chickens became so godly. The more they were with their master, the more powerful they became. But from today onwards, she will always be with him, and will keep absorbing the Tao energy left by him and will become invincible. Li's fans smiled at the excited cat and asked him to eat this thing. hearing which the cat became sensual and started licking his hands. And swallowed the food. Li Fan blushed and immediately held his hands, he thought. Maybe, what it was because he was alone for too long, he started to have strange fantasies. Then he got up and left the cat smiling and thought that it happened when you were embarrassed, that your energy flow has become uneven and a lot of spiritual energy has leaked out. I will continue to absorb it and grow stronger. Time passed, and soon it was night. Li Fan was in deep sleep, but the cat was awake. Suddenly, something magical happened. The cat transformed into a beautiful girl with silver hair and cat ears. Then she quietly climbed on top of him and felt spiritual energy seeping from her. Then she whispered softly into his ear, "Sir, dear sir." Li Fan slowly opening her eyes, she looked at him with half-open eyes. And he realized, he was dreaming. He blushed in the dream and muttered, "What a beautiful dream, please come true." The cat girl became happy, as she felt her aura become uneven, causing her spiritual energy has grown several times. Then she softly hid in the blanket and wondered, if she had to live in this neighborhood, sleeping next to her every day would turn her into a pure-blooded animal. The cat girl eventually got a scar on her face, fell asleep with a satisfied smile, inside a large decorated hall. On the other side, the atmosphere was tense. The woman asked the old man, "Master, do you really want to do this?" The old man said, "Okay, I believe Senior Li, tiger game playing, he helped us to give us a chance, he wanted us to be his pawns." Gong Sun Chi, the people of Li Fan sect, would have angered Senior Li, and it would be shameful for Senior Li to kill him directly, so we have to play the role of pawns and declare war against Li and the sect. Everyone in the hall was shocked to hear this. They couldn't believe what they heard. Declared war, that too with Lian's sect. The next day, a flying ship comes over Lihua's sect, and from inside it, a beautiful girl comes out, and this girl is Hualinger, the third princess of Kingdom Fire. And Linger's servant is saying, "The third princess of Kingdom Fire is here. Princess, Lihua's sect is just a weak moon-grade force. Is it necessary to come here in person? Besides, they declared war on Lai Yan's sect not long ago. Will our visit this time offend?" And Linger is wondering. Rumor has it that Saintess of Lihua's sect came back from Wonderland with the supreme treasure. Now they have the guts to declare war on Lai Yan's sect, so they must have obtained some secret techniques from some masters. And Linger tells them, Hualinger from Kingdom Fire is here to visit Lihua's sect. And the old man says, "Welcome, Princess. Could third princess tell us what you are here for?" And Linger says, "Elders, you must know it. Recently, there has been a beast tide in Mount Sungli. Many people have suffered greatly from it. And this matter is related to Lai Yan's sect's worshipping of evil gods and practicing of sorcery." And the old man says, "It is true. I wonder what the princess wants our sect to do." And the old man is thinking, "Thanks to Senior Li, I survived from that sorcery." And Linger says, "Lai Yan's sect has been domineering for many days. Lihua's sect dared to declare war on it at this moment, so I think you must get some help from some masters. Master, can you introduce us to meet them and save the people of my kingdom?" Hearing his words, the old man is thinking, could it be that my declaration of war against Lai Yan's sect was also predicted by Senior Li, just to ask me to bring the princess to pay a visit? What a sophisticated game! And the old man tells Linger, "Of course. Lihua's sect should do its part for common people. I'll ask Saintess Mu Qianing to take you there to meet the master." And Linger becomes happy after listening to the old man's words, and says, "Thank you, master." After this, Linger is saying to the woman, "Oh, now I know. By the way, Qianing, do you know what Senior Li likes to eat? Wouldn't it be impolite to visit him without bringing anything? Should I bring some Kingdom Fire produce?" And the woman tells Linger, "It would hardly be necessary. Sister Linger, take it easy." And then another flying ship arrives at that place. And seeing that flying ship, all the soldiers say it's the second princess. Is she here to cause trouble for our princess once again? And there's this lady, the second princess of Kingdom Fire, Hua Xuanfei, and the girl says, "Hualinger, hand over ruby ring to me immediately." But Linger asks the girl, "Second sister, why are you here? What do you want ruby ring for?" But the girl says, "Stop being innocent. The evil god caused turmoil in Mount Sungli, and the treasure of Kingdom Fire buried in the mountain is about to appear. You are here also for this." But you are so useless even with ruby ring. It's best to let me have ruby ring, and I can reward you with some leftovers. Linger does not want to give the ruby ring and says, ruby ring is my mother's legacy. You can't take it away. And the girl's subordinate says, I only borrow ruby ring for a short while, and I will definitely return it afterwards. I don't want to hurt you, so I hope the third princess can give it up. And Linger is surprised to see that girl and says, you are the saintess of Longxian sect. And this girl is the saintess of Longxian sect, Long Xin. And the woman comes in front of Linger and says, Longxian sect, so what? If Sister Linger doesn't want to, will you rob her? And seeing this, Xuanfei says, how dare you stand up for others? And then an old man attacks the woman, seeing which the woman gets surprised, but Linger comes in front of the woman, and that attack hits Linger, and that attack hits Linger in the eyes, and blood starts coming out of Linger's eyes, and seeing this the soldiers say that is ethereal grade. Merely the guard protecting the saintess can be that powerful. And the woman thinks, a guard of ethereal grade, I'm afraid it will be difficult even when two masters of Lihua sect working together to resist it. And Linger says to Xuanfei, second sister, you are my only sister. Why do you always have to make things difficult for me? And Xuanfei laughs and says, because now my mother is the queen, and I can do whatever I want. Hand over the ring immediately, or your crew will be destroyed in minutes. And Linger says, no, Qianing has nothing to do with this matter. Don't hurt her. Princess, let's endure it for now. Okay, I'll give you the ring. And Linger gives that ruby ring, and the girl holds that ruby ring and says it would have been better if this had happened earlier. The weak should accept his fate. I heard that Lilo sect has a new backer recently, so you are now more arrogant dash. But no matter what backer you have, it's like nothing but an ant facing Longxian sect. And Linger is saying, it's been like this since I was a child. Since my mother passed away, my belongings have been grabbed in this manner, and the woman says to Linger, Sister Linger, don't worry. Longxian sect is not even worthy of being Senior Li's opponent. Senior Li will definitely help us find all the lost justice. After this the scene shifts, and we come to Li Fan's house and Li Fan is saying, although I painted it myself, I still have to say that the painting is really fucking good. And then the woman and Linger come to that place. And the woman tells Linger that this is Senior Li Fan, and Linger goes in front, and bows before Li Fan and says, Master, it's my honor to meet you. I am Linger. And Li Fan says, no, don't be so humble. What's wrong with this girl? Did she get sand in her eyes? And the woman tells Li Fan, Sister Linger was just bullied by some villains, and her mother's legacy was snatched. And Li Fan thinks, villains, robbers, the outside world is really dangerous. How can such a weak girl gain a foothold? And Li Fan tells Linger, don't be so sad. Wipe your tears. And gives her a handkerchief. And when Linger wiped her tears from that handkerchief, a lot of spiritual energy comes out from inside that handkerchief. And seeing this, Linger is surprised and thinks, how can it be, I just wiped my eyes with this handkerchief, and my wound is healed. Besides, my eye skills have also been promoted from fire eyes to ruby eyes. I can see clearly that there are thousands of strands of spiritual power flowing here. Senior Li's residence is totally a wonderland. And the woman says to Linger, Sister Linger, did Senior Li just bless you? And Linger says, it's more than just a blessing. It just makes me reborn. Thank you very much, Senior. And Li Fan says, it's just a handkerchief. You're welcome. But Li Fan is thinking, how miserable this girl's life is. Is it too much just because of a handkerchief? And Li Fan asks both of them to come inside, then they both go inside and Li Fan says, I'm sorting out my paintings. It might be a bit messy. And when both of them see the paintings made by Li Fan, they are very surprised and think such powerful flowing spirit of Tao. This painting is definitely a holy object. And when Linger touches that painting she feels so much power. I feel countless fragments of Tao calling me. It's a sense of stability like returning to my mother's womb. And then Linger's eyes are upgraded, the third grade holy eyes. And the woman asks Linger, Linger, how are you feeling? So Linger says, Senior Li is really the strongest master I have ever seen. And Li Fan looks at both of them and thinks, it's just a few paintings. Why are they so surprised? Or is it that my painting skills are really superb? And then a notification comes from the system, new task, give Hualinger a gift. And Li Fan thinks, gift? A sudden gift. I have been farming in the mountains for 3 years. How can I have money to buy any gifts? Oh, I know. And Li Fan tells Linger, since you like my paintings so much, take one with you. Take it as a gift. If you meet any difficulties in the future, this painting may be helpful. And Li Fan is thinking, this is totally a system reward without cost. So nice. And the woman says softly in Linger's ear, Sister Linger, Senior Li always has a plan. He must have foreseen that you will use it in the future when he wants you to have this holy object. And Linger tells Li Fan, then I will accept it. Thank you for your generosity, Senior. But Li Fan is thinking, I think they must be quite poor. They can sell this painting to get some money and support their family. I help people and complete this system task at the same time. I am so capable. And Li Fan tells Linger, just keep one thing in mind, it is better to keep paintings for a longer time. And Linger says, don't worry, Senior. I understand it. And Li Fan says, just keep bargaining when you sell it to close the deal in a higher price. And Linger says, the Senior is reminding me that this painting should only be shown at a critical moment, so as not to be too ostentatious. And Linger asks Li Fan, Senior, you've entrusted me with such a valuable painting. I'm curious as to what your next request will be. So Li Fan says, didn't you say that your mother's legacy was taken away? If possible, it's better to take it back. Li Fan is thinking, I don't know if the money for one painting is enough to redeem that legacy. Maybe I should give her more? And Linger softly says to the woman, get back what was stolen? Does Senior mean? And the woman says, we should declare war on Longxian sect? And Linger says to Li Fan, Senior, I understand what you mean. And the woman says, don't worry, Senior. We will follow your orders. And after listening to both of them, Li Fan says, what? You understand me? Well then bye. After this, the woman and Linger leave by flying ship, and the woman is asking Linger, could it be that Senior Li wants us to go directly to Longxian sect? And Linger says, but I am more worried about the people of Kingdom Fire. And then the flying ship starts moving, and when Linger and the woman look ahead, there are many flying ships in front, and seeing this the woman says, why are there so many cultivators heading towards Mount Sunli? And Linger says, could it be that there is a beast tied again in Mount Sunli? I have to go and see. I can't let them attack the people of Kingdom Fire anymore. After this, all the flying ships come down, and there are a lot of cultivators at that place. And when the woman looks ahead she is shocked and says, why did the mountains experience such significant collapse? According to legend, the Supreme Master of Kingdom Fire passed away in Sunli Mountain. As for the movement of the mountains, it seems to be a sign of the appearing supreme treasure. If treasure hunters enter this dangerous wonderland or encounter fights and robberies, they should take responsibility for their own deeds. Longxian Sect, Xianin Pavilion, and the royal family of Kingdom Wind, it turns out that these people are here for the supreme treasure. And then the ground starts shaking, and a lot of chains come down from the sky. And a coffin comes out from that place, and seeing this everyone gets surprised and says, it's the unexplored territory. It appears. On the top, could it be the coffin of the Supreme Master of Kingdom Fire? Where the Supreme Master is buried. The supreme treasure must be there. What a fulfilling journey today! Once you get the treasure, you can become immortal in one step. But Linger looking at that coffin says, no, there are more than just treasures in the coffin. And the woman asks, Sister Linger, what did you see? So Linger states, I'm not sure, but it's definitely not that simple. Perhaps Senior Li gave me the painting to let me stop all of this. After this, everyone is saying, Longxian sect is so fast. They have broken through the first realm of the territory. Follow up. Don't miss this great opportunity. And the woman asks, Sister Linger, shall we go too? So Linger says, yes, but be careful. The treasure here is attractive but also extremely dangerous. Every realm of the territory is tightly surrounded by chaotic flames. If you are not careful enough, you will, and then something starts falling from the sky, And seeing this, the woman says, "Be totally wiped out, Sister Linger, let me help you guard the flying ship. You can use your eye skills now." And the woman creates a protection barrier over the flying ship, and says, "Linger, don't worry. Fortunately, she nearly helped me upgrade to holy eyes, so I can now clearly discern the safe path, passing through the chaotic flames easily." After this, we see a scene of another flying ship. All the soldiers in this place are burning to death. And seeing all this, Xuanfei is saying, "Damn it, my eye skills are still weak, and the territory in front is getting more and more chaotic. Even with Ruby Ring, it is difficult to see it clearly." And when Xuanfei touches the lock of that chain, it starts burning, and asks the girl for help, but a man says, "Stand back." And now Xuanfei is falling down from that burning flying ship, and seeing this, Linger says, "Wait, sister." But the woman says, "Sister Linger, don't set yourself on fire." And then the ruby ring starts falling from the sky, and Linger sees the ruby ring, and the ruby ring flies and goes directly into Linger's finger.